Hey friends, welcome back to this channel. We are discussing about the endocrine system. We have already covered some of the important interesting topics on endocrine system, and right now we are dealing with the endocrine glands. We have covered the pituitary gland in our previous video. The links of all the previous videos will be in the description box, and also you can see on your upper right corner of the screen. So today we'll be discussing about the adrenal gland. So first, these four are our main agenda today. So first we'll look into the structure, which is really very intuitive. Second, we'll see the functions of the adrenal cortex, which is the outer part of the adrenal gland. Third, the functions of the adrenal medulla, which is the inner side of the adrenal gland, and how the stress and adrenal gland is related. This is very interesting. So the first thing is the structure. So the adrenal gland is actually located on the upper side of our kidney. So we have two kidneys and we have two adrenal glands like this is just like a cap over our kidneys. Okay, and if we just see the inner structure of this adrenal gland, we'll see we have the adrenal cortex, which is the outer side of this adrenal gland, and we have the adrenal medulla, which is the inner side of the adrenal gland. So now we are taking this portion and we are enlarging it. So you can see this is the outer part, that is the adrenal cortex, and this deep yellow color is the adrenal medulla part, and this is the connective tissue. Okay, so this part is the connective tissue. So this is the connective tissue. Anyways, the adrenal cortex can again be divided into three zones. First one, this is, remember, from the outer side towards the inside. So at the outer side we have zona glomerulosa. In the middle part, this zone is known as zona fasciculata, and this inner part towards the adrenal medulla, that part is known as zona reticularis. So we have three zones: zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, and zona reticularis in the adrenal cortex. Okay, so this is the overall structure. Simple, straightforward. Next, we have the functions of the adrenal cortex. Yes, sorry for that. Functions of the adrenal cortex. So adrenal cortex is the outer part of the adrenal gland. So see, there are some hormones which are being released from this adrenal cortex. Okay, so first is mineralocorticoid. These are all corticoid hormones because this is adrenal cortex. So from cortex these hormones are released, and so they are corticoids. Okay, corticoids means steroids which are being released from adrenal cortex. So corticoids. So one is mineralocorticoid, second one is glucocorticoid, and third one is sex steroid. So mineralocorticoid, which regulate the sodium potassium balance, that means the ionic balance is maintained by mineralocorticoid. Glucocorticoid, which regulate the metabolism of glucose and other organic molecules, and sex steroids, which are weak androgen or DHEA, that supplement the sex steroids secreted by the gonads. Okay, these are the information which you have to remember. There is nothing to understand. Okay, you can just remember that mineralocorticoids are associated with the regulating sodium potassium balance, glucocorticoids associated with the glucose metabolism, and sex steroids are the weak androgens or DHEA that supplement the sex steroids secreted by the gonads. Okay, next we'll discuss about the biosynthetic pathway, how the mineralocorticoid, glucocorticoids, they are all related or linked via their biosynthetic pathway. So for all of them, the precursor is actually cholesterol. Okay, so let's see. As I have already mentioned that in the adrenal cortex we have three zones. One is the outer part is zona glomerulosa, the middle part is zona fasciculata, and the inner part is zona reticularis. So in the zona glomerulosa part, mineralocorticoids are being synthesized. As I have mentioned that precursor is cholesterol. So we have cholesterol, and from cholesterol let's just zoom a bit. Okay, so from cholesterol pregnenolone is produced, and from this pregnenolone progesterone is produced. From progesterone, deoxycorticosterone is produced, then corticosterone, and ultimately aldosterone. This is the mineralocorticoid. Okay, this part. The second part is in zona fasciculata and zona reticularis. Again, the precursor is cholesterol. From cholesterol, pregnenolone is produced, then progesterone, same like this, progesterone is produced, then again deoxycorticosterone, and then corticosterone. Okay, again from pregnenolone, 17 hydroxypregnenolone, that means just and at the 17th carbon one hydroxyl group is adding, so 17 hydroxypregnenolone, 17 hydroxyprogesterone, same progesterone gets converted into 17 hydroxyprogesterone, also 17 hydroxypregnenolone can be converted into 17 hydroxyprogesterone. From there, deoxycortisol and cortisol. So these are the glucocorticoids. Okay, and from this 7 hydroxypregnenolone, this DHEA or the weak androgen sex steroid is being produced, and from this 7 hydroxyprogesterone, endosteroidine is produced. Okay, and from this DHEA and this androsteroidione, all the other weak androgens are produced. So these are the sex steroids. So this is again a very information based topic where nothing to understand, just you have to remember this thing. You can have a screenshot and just remember. Okay, okay, next thing is the activation of the pituitary adrenal axis by non-specific stress. This is interesting. So as we have already discussed in the hypothalamus, or actually in the pituitary gland, that we have the releasing hormone and inhibitory hormone are released from the hypothalamus, and they act on the anterior pituitary, and on the anterior pituitary the releasing hormone actually stimulates the secretion of the anterior pituitary hormones, and the inhibitory hormones actually inhibit the secretion of the anterior pituitary hormones. So same thing is there. Also we mentioned in the pituitary gland that there is a negative feedback mechanism working on for maintaining the homeostasis for hormone secretion. If you haven't checked those video, I recommend to check those videos. Okay, especially the pituitary gland video. The link will be here. Okay. Okay, so here we have the similar type of thing also occur when there is a pituitary adrenal axis. While discussing the this pituitary gland, we had an hypothalamus, hypophyseal portal system, and then we had adenohypophysis, neurohypophysis, everything. Here also we are having the similar kind of thing, that is we have some higher brain centers which are associated with the non-specific stress, and that actually modulate the hypothalamus. From hypothalamus, corticotropin releasing hormone is being produced. This hormone act on the anterior pituitary, and it produces the it actually induces the secretion of adrenocorticotropic hormone. This adrenocorticotropic hormone actually will act on the adrenal cortex, so that this mineralocorticoid, glucocorticoid, other sex steroids all will be produced. So here let's say cortisol, the production of cortisol has been increased. Now there will be another negative feedback mechanism. Same as pituitary gland, there will be a negative feedback mechanism. That is, one thing is it will inhibit the anterior pituitary, that means the responsiveness of the anterior pituitary towards CRH. Also, if anterior pituitary is inhibited, ACTH production will be lowered down, and again it will be inhibiting the hypothalamus, so that the CRH secretion is decreased. So that is how, through this negative feedback mechanism, the adrenal cortex or the adrenal gland secretion is also maintained or regulated. Okay, now let's see these were the functions of adrenal cortex. Now let's see the functions of adrenal medulla. As I have mentioned, adrenal medulla is the inner part of this adrenal gland. Mainly this adrenal medulla is associated with the secretion of epinephrine and norepinephrine. Okay, and this epinephrine, norepinephrine, they are associated with the increase in the cardiac output and heart rate. They dilate the coronary blood vessel, increase the mental alertness, increase the respiratory rate, elevate the metabolic rate. Okay, there was a video on the synergistic effect of the hormones, where I mentioned that epinephrine can increase the cardiac rate. Norepinephrine can also increase the cardiac rate, but if both epinephrine and norepinephrine both are present together, the cardiac rate will be increased in a huge amount. So the individual effects of both epinephrine and norepinephrine is actually lesser than the effect both of them together have on our cardiac rate. Okay, so that is basically the synergistic effect of hormone. Yeah, you can also go and check it out, check that video out. Okay. Now see, if our cardiac output or the heart rate is increasing, that means what? That means the coronary blood vessels are dilating, because if more blood flow means more heart rate. So for more blood flow we need dilated blood vessels, so there is a coronary blood vessels are dilated, plus increased mental alertness. Say for instance you are having an exercise, okay, you are working out, your mental alertness at that time, your heart rate is also increased, your coronary blood vessel are dilated, and so you are in a mental alert condition. Plus there is an increase in respiratory rate, there is an increase in elevated metabolic rate. Okay, so increase in metabolic rate, everything is associated with the when we are in deep stress. If you are facing a tiger, you are running like you have to run, so there at that time you are under complete stress. Okay, then your cardiac output is increased, your heart rate is increased, your blood vessels are dilated, mental, you are completely mentally alert that you have to run, and then there is an increased respiratory rate and metabolic rate is also increased. So these all are associated with the stress condition. Okay, working out is also one kind of stress condition actually. Whenever our body is not in a very cool and relaxed condition, that is actually our stress condition, so remember that. Next thing is, the adrenal medulla is innervated by preganglionic sympathetic actions and secretes its hormone whenever the sympathetic nervous system is activating during fight or flight. So fight or flight mechanism is a mechanism by which we deal with our stress condition. Okay, say for instance we are working out, or we are running from a danger, or we are giving a very we are facing a tensed moment, everything, this is the fight or flight mechanism. Either you can fight, either you can run from the tiger, or you can take a flight. Either you can a fight means either you can fight with the danger, and another one is you can just flight, that means go away or run away from the danger. The next thing is, this sympathoadrenal effect are supported by the metabolic actions of epinephrine and norepinephrine. Obviously, because of this epinephrine and norepinephrine effect, these stress conditions, we can deal with these stress conditions because of this epinephrine and norepinephrine. Okay, and so that's why there is a specific term that is called GAS, generalized adaptation syndrome. This is a syndrome that is basically attributed by epinephrine and norepinephrine when we are dealing with the stress and when we are adapting with the stress. Let's say we are dealing with hot environment or cold environment or any kind of stress, we can deal with stress because of epinephrine and norepinephrine, which are being released from adrenal medulla in response to different stress condition. And so that adaptation technique is known as generalized adaptation syndrome, or GAS. Okay, so that's it for the adrenal gland. This is a very short and simple video on adrenal gland. We'll discuss about adrenal gland whenever we'll discuss about the disease that are associated with different hormones and all. So this is just the structural and functional point of view. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, see you in the next video where we'll discuss about the thyroid and parathyroid glands. Bye.